The Trump administration is sending warnings to rogue regimes. America will hold you accountable. Now North Korea is being put on notice, and a showdown could be coming this weekend because the communist regime is threatening war. Mark Martin has more.
It's been an intense week of foreign policy for the Trump administration. First, the president ordered a missile strike on a Syrian airbase in response to a chemical weapons attack believed to be launched by the Assad regime on its own people. Then on Thursday, the United States dropped what's known as the mother of all bombs on eastern Afghanistan, targeting an ISIS cave complex. Last week, a U.S. Special Forces operator was killed in that area, which was laced with terror tunnels used by ISIS to target U.S. forces.
This was another very, very successful mission.
The 22,000-pound bomb is the biggest non-nuclear weapon ever used in combat by the U.S. Now the warning is being sent to North Korea. Don't even think about another nuclear bomb test. U.S. officials say it looks like the rogue communist regime of Kim Jong-un is planning a nuke test this weekend.
North Korea is a problem. The problem will be taken care of.
North Korea's got to change its behavior.
The time for action is now.
America's top military leaders say the situation is urgent because North Korea has sped up the pace of missile tests in the past 6 months. Monitors say the latest satellite images show a North Korean nuclear test site primed and ready. In response, the U.S. has moved an aircraft carrier strike group near North Korea. NBC News reports several senior U.S. intelligence officials say the U.S. is prepared to launch a preemptive strike with conventional weapons should leaders believe the rogue regime is on the verge of another nuclear weapons test. The Pentagon declined to comment on the NBC News report. Meanwhile, China is calling on all parties not to provoke and threaten each other. Mark Martin, CBN News.
President Trump has signed a law allowing states to block federal money from going to Planned Parenthood and other abortion providers. He erased a rule finalized shortly before President Obama left office in January. The move means states can divert the money to organizations that don't do abortions. Marjorie Dannenfelser of the pro-life Susan B. Anthony list said the change will lead to better care for women and girls. St. John's Episcopal Church has been a place of worship for every U.S. commander-in-chief for 200 years, including President Trump. This Easter weekend, Ben Kennedy takes us to the Church of the Presidents.
Sitting across the street from the White House. St. John's Episcopal Church has served each commander-in-chief since James Madison, the nation's 4th president. Built in 1816, its proximity proved to be a dilemma for church leaders.
They said, what are we going to do to accommodate the President of the United States if he wants to attend a service?
The solution? Pew 54, which for 200 years has become known as the President's Pew.
People would come early to try to sit close by so they could shake the hand of the President when they passed the peace during the service. And that got to be kind of funny, and the rector often tells a story about how the church would slightly tilt to the left because everybody was sitting on the left-hand side when they thought the president was going to attend a service.
When the president's not in town, turns out anyone can sit in this pew. But odds are when the commander-in-chief shows up, Secret Service might kick you out.
I can tell you this pew is never vacant, even at the earliest of the services.
To top that, an 18th century prayer book is put in the pew when the commander-in-chief attends service. That prayer book now contains signatures from past presidents.
Harry Truman, Dwight Eisenhower, John F. Kennedy, George Bush, Barack Obama, Donald Trump.
Oh, so he did sign.
Yeah.
But not every president took advantage of their reserved space.
He would sit in the very last pew on the back door.
That man is the nation's 16th president, Abraham Lincoln.
He would come in quietly, sit in the back pew by himself, and contemplate, pray, do what he had to do to deal with the burdens of the Civil War. And just before the service would end, he would quietly walk out that back door.
The doors remain open at St. John's both as a parish and as a piece of history in the heart of Washington, D.C. Ben Kennedy, CBN News, Washington.
It's Easter weekend, and Christians in Jerusalem will be celebrating Jesus' resurrection. If you want to join them live, you can watch the Easter sunrise service at cbnnews.com Saturday at 11:30 p.m. Eastern. The entire service from the Garden Tomb will also be on the CBN website through Easter Sunday.